Level 1. The Conventional Soldier. You are not in special operations. Not yet. You are in the regular military. The Army, the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Air Force. And you are watching the men who are. They deploy more often, train differently, wear different patches, and operate under a classification level that your clearance does not reach. You want in. Everyone wants in. Most will not get in. The United States Special Operations Command, SOCOM, encompasses approximately 70,000 personnel across 4 service component commands and 1 subunified command. And of those 70,000, roughly half are operators. The rest are enablers, support staff, intelligence analysts, logisticians, communicators, the infrastructure that makes the sharp end possible. SOCOM was activated on April 16, 1987 at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, Florida. Born from failure. Operation Eagle Claw, the 1980 attempt to rescue American hostages in Iraq, collapsed in the desert at a staging point called Desert 1, when a helicopter collided with a C-130, killing 8 servicemen and humiliating the most powerful military on Earth. The failure demonstrated that the United States did not have a functional joint special operations capability. The services did not communicate, the units did not train together. The equipment was not compatible. Congress intervened. The Goldwater-Nichols Act of 1986 and the Nunn-Cohen Amendment of 1987 created SOCOM as a unified combatant command with its own budget, its own acquisition authority, and a 4-star commander who reports directly to the Secretary of Defense. The services fought the legislation. They did not want to surrender control of their elite forces. Congress overruled them. You are a conventional soldier who wants to join this command. The first thing you must accept is that wanting it is not enough. Level 2 Selection. You volunteer. In the special operations community, every career begins with a voluntary act. You cannot be ordered into SOF. The pipeline you enter depends on your service branch. Army Special Forces Assessment and Selection, SFAS. 24 days at Fort Bragg, now Fort Liberty, where you are evaluated on physical endurance, land navigation, teamwork, problem solving, and the indefinable quality that the cadre calls adaptability. 50% fail. Navy Basic Underwater Demolition, SEAL Training Berets. 24 weeks at Coronado, California, including Hell Week, 5.5 days of continuous physical exertion with 4 hours of sleep total, where 75 to 80% of each class quits, rings the bell, and is gone. Marine Corps Assessment and Selection for MARSOC, the Marine Raider Regiment, established in 2006 as the newest component of SOCOM. Air Force, the Special Warfare Pipeline. Combat Controllers, Pararescue Men, Special Reconnaissance, Tactical Air Control Party, each with its own punishing selection course. The attrition rates vary, but the principle is identical. SOCOM does not lower the standard to fill the ranks. SOF Truth number 1, humans are more important than hardware. SOF Truth number 2, quality is better than quantity. SOF Truth number 5, most special operations require non-SOF assistance. These truths were codified in 1988, and they govern every selection decision the command makes. You are tested to destruction, not to see if you will break. Everyone breaks. But to see what you do after you break. The men who quit are not weak. Many of them are among the strongest candidates in the class. They are simply not the right fit for a community that requires its members to function at the edge of human capacity and then continue functioning past it. You survive selection. You have earned nothing except the right to begin training. Level 3, the pipeline. Selection was the filter. The pipeline is the forge. For Army Special Forces, the qualification course, the Q Course, takes 56 to 96 weeks depending on your most specialty. You train as an 18B weapons sergeant, or an 18C engineer, or an 18D medical sergeant. The most grueling track, 250 days of medical training that produces arguably the most capable battlefield medics in any military on Earth. Or an 18E communications sergeant. You learn a foreign language. You complete Robin Sage, the final field exercise that tests unconventional warfare skills in a simulated denied territory environment. For Navy SEALs, SEAL Qualification Training SQT follows BUD-S, adding land warfare, close quarters combat, small unit tactics, and advanced diving. For Air Force Special Tactics, the training pipeline stretches to 2 years, producing combat controllers who are simultaneously qualified as air traffic controllers and special operations ground combatants. For For Marine Raiders, the individual training course at Camp Lejeune builds on the Marine Infantry Foundation with advanced special operations skills. In every pipeline, the washout rate continues. Men who survive selection fail the academic and technical requirements that follow it. The pipeline does not care about your physical courage if you cannot master the technical skills. When you emerge, you are assigned to an operational unit. Army Special Forces, one of 5 active duty Special Forces groups, each aligned to a geographic region. Navy, a SEAL team. Air Force, a Special Tactics Squadron. Marines, a Raider Battalion. You receive your qualification, your tab, your trident, your beret, your scarlet beret, and you are an operator. The qualification is not a reward. It is a receipt. It confirms that you have paid the price of admission. The price of staying will be higher. Level 4, the operator. Your first deployment is the transition from training to reality. The gap between the two is smaller in SOF than in conventional forces because SOF training is designed to replicate operational conditions as closely as possible. But the gap still exists, and it is filled with things that no training can simulate. The weight of decisions that kill people. The smell of a room after a flashbang detonates. The face of a man you just shot who was reaching for something that turned out not to be a weapon. You operate within the SOCOM architecture, which is the most complex command structure in the American military. Your unit belongs to a Service Component Command. USASOC for Army SO, headquartered at Fort Liberty, North Carolina, the largest component with approximately 34,000 personnel. Or Naval Special Warfare Command, NAVSPECWARCOM, headquartered in Coronado, California, or Air Force Special Operations Command, AFSOC, headquartered at Hurlburt Field, Florida, or MARSOC at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, the newest and smallest component at approximately 3,500 personnel. Your component command trains and equips you, but when you deploy, you fall under the operational control of a Theater Special Operations Command, a TSOC, which is the SOF headquarters element embedded within each geographic combatant command. SOCSouth for Southern Command, SOZER for European Command, SOCAFRICA for Africa Command. The TSOC plans and controls SOF operations in its region. You are an operator in a system of nested commands that connects your 12-man team to the Pentagon through a chain that is simultaneously elegant and bewildering. You do not think about the chain, you think about the mission. The mission is direct action, raids, ambush, hostage rescues, or foreign internal defense, training partner forces to fight their own wars. Or special reconnaissance, operating deep in denied territory, observing, reporting, and disappearing before the enemy knows you are there. Or unconventional warfare, the original Special Forces mission, building indigenous resistance movements behind enemy lines. Or counterterrorism, or counter-narcotics, or civil affairs, or psychological operations. The breadth of SOCOM's mission set is what distinguishes it from every other Special Operations Command on Earth. You are trained to do all of it, you specialize in some of it. You deploy for whichever part of it the theater commander needs. Level 5, the team leader. You are promoted in SOF. Promotion is slower in calendar time but faster in responsibility than in conventional forces. An E6 on a Special Forces ODA, Operational Detachment Alpha. The 12-man team that is the fundamental unit of Army Special Forces carries more tactical autonomy than an infantry company commander. You lead a split team or a fire team element. You plan missions. You brief your team sergeant and your captain. You execute. The operational tempo since September 11, 2001 has been relentless. Before 9/11s, SOCOM's primary mission was to organize, train, and equip SOF for the geographic combatant commanders. After 9/11s, the 2004 Unified Command Plan expanded SOCOM's responsibilities to include synchronizing Department of Defense plans against global terrorist networks and conducting global operations as directed by the President. SOCOM went from a supporting command to a supported command, from providing forces to directing the fight. SOF were the first forces into Afghanistan in October 2001. Army Special Forces ODAs rode horseback alongside Northern Alliance fighters and called in precision airstrikes that destroyed Taliban positions. CI and JSOC elements operated alongside them. The Iraq invasion of 2003 saw 10 Special Forces Group and JSOC link up with Kurdish Peshmerga fighters to defeat Ansar al-Islam in northern Iraq before the conventional invasion began. In the years that followed, SOF conducted thousands of direct action raids, thousands of foreign internal defense missions, and operated in countries whose names never appeared in the news. At the peak of the War on Terror, SOF were deployed in more than 80 countries simultaneously. A global footprint that no other military force has ever sustained. You were part of this. You missed birthdays, anniversaries, births, funerals. You deployed 3 times, 4 times, 7 times, 10 times. The operational tempo broke marriages and bodies and minds. And the community absorbed the damage because the mission did not stop. And the volunteers kept volunteering. At the team leader level, the war was not a strategy. It was a door, a room, a decision, a consequence. Level 6, the Senior NCO, E7, E8, E9. In Army Special Forces, the E8 Team Sergeant, MOS 18Z, is the most senior enlisted position on the ODA and the operational backbone of the team. The Team Sergeant runs the team. The Captain commands it, but the Team Sergeant manages the personnel, the training schedule, the operational readiness, the interpersonal dynamics, and the institutional knowledge that makes the team functional. In the SEAL teams, the E7 Chief Petty Officer serves as the leading petty officer, the LPO of a platoon, responsible for the tactical execution and the welfare of the operators. In Special Tactics, the senior NCOs carry qualifications that span decades of training. Joint Terminal Attack Controllers who have directed thousands of airstrikes. Pararescue men who have performed combat rescues under fire in a dozen countries. At this level, you are eligible for assignment to the Joint Special Operations Command, JSOC, the sub-unified command within SOCOM that controls the military's most classified counterterrorism units. JSOC, headquartered at Fort Liberty, was established on October 22, 1980 in direct response to the Eagle Claw failure. Its assigned units include the Army's Combat Applications Group, commonly known as Delta Force, and the Naval Special Warfare Development Group, commonly known as DevGRU or SEAL Team 6, along with the 24th Special Tactics Squadron, the Intelligence Support Activity, and the Regimental Reconnaissance Company of the 75th Ranger Regiment. Selection into these units represents the apex of the enlisted SOF career. The process is classified. The standards are above what you have already met, which you did not think was possible. You discover that it is. If you are selected, you enter a world where the resources are unlimited. The training is continuous. The operations are the most sensitive the nation conducts, and the secrecy is absolute. You cannot tell your family where you go. You cannot tell them what you do. You come home and you sit at the dinner table and your children ask you about your trip and you say, it was fine. Level 7, the Warrant Officer and Company Grade Officer. The Warrant Officer in Special Forces, MOS 180A, is the technical expert who remains on the ODA longer than any other team member, providing continuity across command rotations. Captains rotate through in 18 to 24 months. Team sergeants rotate. The warrant officer stays. His institutional memory is the team's operational anchor. On the officer side, the company grade officer, a trained lieutenant or captain, commands the ODA or the SEAL platoon or the Special Tactics team. The SOF officer is expected to be an operator and a diplomat simultaneously. You negotiate with tribal elders. You coordinate with ambassadors. You brief generals. You plan raids. The duality is the point. The SOF officer's value is not in his combat skills, which his NCOs often exceed, but in his ability to translate tactical reality into strategic language and strategic intent into tactical action. At the company level, the B team in Special Forces, the SEAL Squadron, the AFSOC Squadron, you manage multiple operational elements across the theater. Your decisions have second and third order effects that you may never see. A successful foreign internal defense mission in an African country produces a partner force that interdicts a smuggling network that was financing a terrorist organization that was planning an attack in Europe. The causal chain is invisible. The effect is real. This is what SOCOM means by strategic impact at the tactical level. You are the officer who makes that impact possible. And you will never receive credit for it because the operations are classified and the successes are silent, and the failures, when they occur, are catastrophic and public. Level 8, the Field Grade Officer and Colonel. Major, Lieutenant Colonel, Colonel, you leave the team. This is the most difficult transition in this SOF career because the team is where the work is real and everything above the team is where the work becomes institutional. You serve on a battalion or group staff. You attend the Command and General Staff College or its Naval or Air Force equivalent. You write papers about doctrine. You attend meetings about budget. You sit in rooms where the language is PowerPoint and the currency is slides, and the men who brief them have not conducted an operation in years. The institutional military is a different organism from the operational military, and the SOF officer who thrives on one often suffocates in the other. But command requires it. You must prove that you can manage bureaucracy before you are trusted to command operators. You compete for battalion command, an O5 billet in Special Forces, a SEAL team commanding officer, an AFSOC group commander. If you are selected, you command 300 to 800 operators and their support elements. You deploy the force. You manage the training cycle. You answer for every operation your subordinates conduct and every failure they produce. At the colonel level, 06, you may command a Special Forces group of approximately 1,400 personnel or a SEAL group, or serve as a TSOC Chief of Staff. You may be assigned to the JSOC staff, where you help plan and oversee the most sensitive operations the United States military conducts. You may serve as the Special Operations Forces liaison element at an embassy, one or two operators embedded in a diplomatic mission, representing SOCOM's interests in a country where the ambassador may not fully understand what SOF can do, and where the CIA station chief may regard your presence as competition. The colonels in SOCOM are the last rank that still touches operations directly. Above colonel, you are a general, and generals do not conduct operations. They create the conditions under which operations are conducted. The transition from colonel to general is the transition from doing to enabling. And many SOF officers regard it as the moment the career becomes something fundamentally different from what they signed up for. Level 9, the general officer. Brigadier general, major general, lieutenant general. You command a component, USAC, NAVSPEC-WARCOM, AFSOC, MARSOC, or ATSOC. Or you serve as the JSOC commander, a 2-star billet that controls the most lethal and precise military capability on Earth. JSOC conducted the raid that killed Osama bin Laden, Operation Neptune Spear, May 2, 2011. JSOC ran the campaign in Iraq that dismantled Al-Qaeda in Iraq through a network targeting methodology that General Stanley McChrystal built. A system where intelligence from one raid generated targets for the next raid, compressing the kill chain from days to hours to minutes, conducting up to 300 raids per month at its peak. JSOC elements have operated in more countries simultaneously than any other military organization in history. The SOF generals who commanded these campaigns, McChrystal, McRaven, Vodal, Thomas, Clark, built an institutional legacy that transformed SOCOM from a niche capability into the central instrument of American military power in the 21st century. As a general officer in SOCOM, you exist at the intersection of military capability, intelligence community equities, diplomatic considerations, and presidential authority. You brief the National Security Council. You coordinate with the CIA. You manage relationships with Allied Special Operations Commands across Five Eyes and NATO. You make recommendations that result in men being sent to places where they may die. And the weight of that responsibility does not diminish with rank. It increases because at the general officer level, you can see the full scope of the consequences, the strategic, the political, the human, and you send them anyway because the mission requires it and because the SOF Truths state that competent special operations forces cannot be created after emergencies occur. The force must exist before it is needed. You ensure it exists. Level 10, the commander, 4-star general or admiral. Commander, United States Special Operations Command. You sit at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, Florida, and you are responsible for approximately 70,000 personnel conducting operations in more than 80 countries on any given day. You report directly to the Secretary of Defense. You have your own acquisition authority. SOCOM can develop and purchase equipment independently of the services, a privilege granted by the Nunn-Cohen Amendment that the services have resented since 1987. You manage a budget of approximately $14 billion. You oversee the readiness of every SOF unit in the United States military. Green Berets, SEALs, Rangers, Marine Raiders, Night Stalkers, combat controllers, pararescue men, civil affairs, Psychological operations, the units that are not publicly acknowledged, and the units whose names are classified. You are one of 11 unified combatant commanders, and one of only 4 whose mission is functional rather than geographic. Your area of responsibility is the planet. The SOF Truths hang on the wall of your headquarters. Humans are more important than hardware. Quality is better than quantity. Special operations forces cannot be mass-produced. Competent special operations forces cannot be created after emergencies occur. Most special operations require non-SOF assistance. You know these truths because you have lived them. You were once the volunteer, the candidate in selection, the new operator on his first deployment, the team leader making decisions in the dark, the colonel commanding a group, the general briefing the president. The pipeline that produced you took 25 to 30 years. The command was born from failure at Desert 1 in 1980. Its existence is a promise that the failure will not be repeated. Somewhere tonight, a young soldier in a conventional unit is watching the SOF operators deploy from his base and thinking about volunteering. The cycle begins.